Hey, everybody. Or some of the buddies. My name is Eric. I'm making a game. That game is called The Godkiller. It's a 3D puzzle solving adventure game. I'm trying to make the adventure game part of this thing more viable with recent changes to the engine, which I'm going to demo shortly. How shortly? Well, like now shortly. Okay. Let me just hit play on this. So the thing I've been working on is setting the attention of these faces automatically so that their eyes will look at the right things. I won't have to necessarily write any code that says what I call authoring code that says the face needs to look at this thing right now. So I came up with this concept of attention magnets, which are just something that says an object is a thing that you might want to... Because I was waiting for you to come on. I didn't want to start streaming until you came on, Cicada. It's very important to me. So I came up with this concept called attention magnets, and I said, okay, the altar here, that's one attention magnet. The egg here is another attention magnet, and then the faces. And then I realized that it was too complicated of a system. I thought about it a little bit more. Most of the time when the faces are showing, somebody's going to be talking. That's the main thing for them to look at, somebody talking. That's the main automatic thing. And they're actually... I killed somebody and the face still stayed there because the character couldn't be resurrected. Okay, that's fine. I think what's truly wanted is not for these faces to be looking at specific things in the level. It's that they mainly need to look at another face while it's speaking and have a little bit of departure from that focus, that attention. So if they have just a normal amount of focus or attention on somebody speaking, they should be looking at them, and then every once in a while their eyes should flit away just for a moment, just like we do in real life when we're talking to people. And because this face going over the top of the character is already a kind of a sort of abstract, disconnected from reality. That's not quite the right word. It's like an informational cheat. It doesn't really make sense for the face to be constantly looking at things that are in the proper game world, because we're really showing the faces for the most part to support the idea that these characters are talking to each other and to just make the faces look a little more lifelike and realistic. So I'm going to, in this session, revise that algorithm a bit so that it's mainly about these characters looking at each other or whoever's talking, and then just adding a little bit of variety in what they look at beyond that. Just a little bit of randomness, like every once in a while. Their eyes might flit off here and come back, that kind of thing. And I also need to have a sort of a default mode where there's no attention focus, but they still look around a little bit. They don't have to look at any specific thing. They just have to have some kind of activity with their irises where it looks some direction other than straight ahead. So that's that. Also, I got back in touch with the 3D character modeler guy, Isak Ativos. I think that might not be his last name. I'm not sure. I think that might be like the name of his studio. But Isak is ready to make some more. So I sent him concept art for Billy and Groldy. And Billy is this antagonistic character, kind of pathetic, kind of mean and petty. That is M's mentor in the game. She doesn't need him as a mentor, but he insists. He's fearful. He's full of himself. He's waiting for the sun to shine on him. He feels like a lot is owed to him. He's quite entitled. He's not very impressive. And this isn't one character, but it is one game character, or it's a game element that comes up. And right now I'm using some other character model for it than the one that I intend to. This is a little guy that likes to kick boxes around, and if you step in front of the box, he'll give that box a kick and knock you with it. He's kind of mean, kind of dull. And I got more characters to send off to, or more concept art to send off to Isak so he can make some character models. He's been very good about teaming up with me on this. I will also make a 2D face to go over the top of Billy, so we don't have to see M's face all the time. She'll have somebody to talk to besides herself visually. But yeah, I guess it took for me to build the first thing I thought of with these attention magnets and try it out, and then I saw it's overwrought. So now I'm working on my replacement design for it. And this is the last thing that I have to code in the engine for face animation. Character attention. I've already got this class. I mean, there'll be more faces, but it'll be more content driven. So I'll have to draw some faces and get them in, and then I'll have to do some authoring of story events inside the levels. Probably I'll fix a few more bugs, but that'll be the end of like the main engine code for the faces once I get this done. Which seems quite feasible. I could get it done in this session. That would make me quite happy. We could say in character attention, focus mode, exclusive, casual, unfocused. And just to transform. Also add one more for staring. Staring is basically just override the automatic attention stuff and say we're going to look at one thing. Let's see, what do we want? That's kind of like an override. Hey, Ben Griffiths. I don't think I've met you before. I am making it's face animation code for a character face, and it tries to realistically set the attention of a face, or the eyes in the face, so that the character is looking at things that are actually make some sense for it to look at. Right now I'm just working out the design for it. It's a game called the Godkiller. It's a 3D puzzle solving adventure game. Let's see. Maybe I don't need the staring too. Maybe it's just a lot simpler. Well, I know of two approaches that tend to work depending on what type of a learner you are. First one is tutorial. The second one is the passion project. So first one's more easy to understand. You just look for tutorials and you try to do the same thing that's in the tutorial. Second one, I say passion project, but I just mean like some kind of project that maybe isn't too hard, is pretty easy, but it's very interesting to you if you can get it done. So a good example might be, can you make a Tetris game? Say you like the game Tetris, and it would give you some joy to see that exist. Yeah, what Cicada's describing is pretty good if you're more in line with wanting to follow a tutorial or kind of get the basics, but people's brains work in different ways. So it's usually one of those two paths is the best way to start, depending on how your brain works. If you feel more motivated to make something specific, then the second way is better. But then you have to be careful about picking things that are too advanced. You want to pick something really small to start. Oh, there's one other way. It's not a bad way at all. Okay, you go on the asset store or you find an open source project, but you find like a sort of a game project that already works, and you tweak with it. Yeah. So it's hard to get to a point where it feels like you can just easily add to your knowledge. When you start out, it feels like everything is hard. You try to do one thing and it's hard, and you want to do 5 more things after that, but the first thing you try to do is hard. It's kind of a real pain when you start out. Main thing is to not expect a lot right when you start. So how did I learn? I started a long while back as a programmer. So how did I learn Unity? That's not really applicable because I was already a accomplished programmer at that point, like a professional. But when I was young, I was learning programming for the first time. There was a collection of games that had the source code with them, and I would look at the source code of these games that I played and make changes to that source code. And the first thing I did was, there was some game with like it used text characters to show the position of these robots on a screen, and the walls were pound signs because of a really old computer. And then I found like one character that looked like a nicer wall to me, so I changed the wall to be that character instead. AKA modding. So that was like 1980s modding. But a lot of people get into programming games just by doing mods, which isn't a bad way to just sort of dip your toe in the pool. But pick easy things to do first. That's otherwise you'll get discouraged. Stare at. Trying to get this right. Do the focus mode. Yeah. Just get in there and do it, man. You'll pick it up. Like I said like 5 times, just pick small things to start with, otherwise you get frustrated. I say that more from more recent experience, listening to a lot of people come on the stream and talk about starting programming, and then they bite off more than they can chew. But the thing that is so frustrating is it feels like you can't do anything when you start, and everything you try to do is really hard. But it's not like it's that way all the time while you're learning. Once you get past that first hump, it's better. You could try like some classic games like tic-tac-toe, hangman. I would do something like that maybe. If you like puzzle games, there's a lot you can do. You can also, if you can pick something like, say, Flappy Bird or Pong, where the logic for controlling everything isn't that hard compared to other types of games. Making a simple shooter isn't bad. Like if you just put like a spaceship on the screen and you press a button and it makes like a little bullet go off in one direction. Whatever it is, it's going to suck. Don't get me wrong. Whatever it is, it will suck. Like nobody will want to play it because we've got all these other things to amuse us. That's the other thing I tell you, is just it'll take a long time before you can make something that will actually draw people's attention to what you're doing. Well, have you gotten a program to run yet? Like any kind of program? Like have you gotten like a Python program to run? And don't feel bad if you haven't. I'm just trying to gauge where you're at. That's cool. All right, so you got some of the basics, like what variables are and functions are and stuff like that. So you're in good shape. So I don't know. I think I don't know. Like you might see. So you can go the modding route. If you go the modding route, which means you'll take some existing source and modify it on the asset store, I haven't looked too hard, but let's see, RPG kit, like if you're into RPGs. Let's see. I don't know, you could find a kit, like something that kind of has like a working game inside of it, and then you can customize it. That's one way to go, right? Or you can go from scratch, and then you just want to pick something simple if you go from scratch. Just something real simple. So I said like Flappy Bird, that's like anything where it's just simple controls, not a logic to figure out success or failure, or not success or failure, like if the character has died or not. If you don't want to pick like as a starting project, you don't want to pick anything that you're thinking like, oh, this could be a game that I'm going to release. You're just not there yet. But yeah, I'd also think like, what games do you like already? Like what types of games do you like already, and see, maybe you can find a kit for it. Or if you want to go from scratch, think of like the simplified version of that game. So if you really love 2D platformers, for example, you run around, jump and stuff like that, then just see if you can make like a floor that a guy stands on top of and he can walk around, and then there's another floor and he can jump up to it, And if you got that far, wow, pat yourself on the back for, first game. Yeah, there's another guy that was on here was in a similar state as you, and he like really racked his brain to figure out how to get a character that would jump and walk like a 2D character. It depends on the kit, but you can double check and see what they have in them. Most of them have got like some demo scene. In the demo scene, if you hit play on it, it'll be like a working game, not like a fully complete, you could release a game, but you'd have to make your own levels, I guess, unless you're satisfied with the assets that come with it. Let me see. They got any free kits? Because I would hate to have you spending money and then like download a bunch of things and. Yeah, another thing is, if you start pulling in some free assets and just like learning how to put your assets together in a scene in Unity, that's worth something too. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you might be even more oriented towards the design aspects of it, 3D modeling and stuff. You might find that out as you go. There's also like some built-in stuff inside of Unity. There's a first-person controller, and you can add that to almost any scene, and it will walk around in it and do stuff inside of it. I mean, there's caveats to it, like, a lot of times you'll throw that controller into the scene and it'll just fall through the floor because whatever object was there didn't have a collider on it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just pulling some free assets and play around a little bit. And you'll probably still get frustrated, but like a bunch of them have got sample scenes in them, and you just hit play on the sample scene, and if you see something that kind of interests you and it works, then you can tweak it from there. Yeah, sure. I hope you enjoy yourself. I guess I gotta get this simple. I gotta make this simple. I'm thinking too much about all these different use cases. You know what? If you're just like playing around, I'd go ahead and get the latest. So I use the LTS versions because I'm trying to release a game and I don't want to bring in anything chaotic. But you'll get like the latest features and stuff with the later versions of Unity. Yeah. I wouldn't get LTS. I would just go ahead and get the latest one. You might, if you really didn't want to mess with any, kind of irritating things, then you might pick one that, I don't know, the latest should be fine, to be honest. I get LTS just because I don't want to deal with anything that might be experimental or changing. All right, so I can get into this now. So if I stare at, does it handle all the cases that matter to me? Stop staring is the same. Setting focus mode to unfocused. And this is going to be the focus target. Okay. Still need attention manager? I'm not sure. I think I don't necessarily need it because I'm not going to do this thing where I'm having all these magnet things updating the attention. I think I can get rid of attention manager. Maybe. It does perform initialization of these character attention objects. I need some way for it to draw attention to things that aren't transforms. Let me take a look at the code that is in Face Player. Looking at things. Okay, look at take screen X, screen Y. Yeah, this is just gain screen chords. Okay. Thinking about this. Look at what are you doing there? You're finding the angle. Alright, let me leave this guy alone. This will be an absolute look at position thing. But I need to have some kind of logic in here where it just sets the target iris position and the iris is moved there. Let me go back to look at, let's say, iris. You can have this set target iris offset X, target iris offset Y. And those move automatically. Okay. that would fix this smooth movement of eyes to target. That seems like a piece of work I could just do without the rest. I think I'll work on that now, because it's really unrelated to all the other design stuff, and my thoughts might clarify a little bit after I finish up with that. So let's start with that work. Must be a define face controller, which I think never sets these. It never does, so let's just move it down into face player. Drifter! Man, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Oh. Yeah, what's going on? You get much snow up there in the north there? Ah. Well, a guy like you needs good internet, I would think. Maybe actually it's a good thing, because if you just have okay internet, then it doesn't support all the things that would distract you from getting work done on your various projects. But if you have kind of just half-assed internet, you can still look up information. I'm trying to construct a silver lining for your cloud there, which is an asshole thing for me to do. Well, yeah, I don't know what I would do with bad internet. I would move. That always cut short all my fantasies about just going off in the middle of the woods or some wilderness and getting away from everything. You need updates to compilers and oh, you mean like downloading them? Yeah. All right, let's see. What am I saying? We can move a certain number of pixels per second. Let's say we can move 5 pixels per second. I remember I had all those stupid CDs. In those plastic binder things, and you know, they had all those little, I don't know, you'd be flipping through them, flip. Volume 73, VisualStudio.net tools, stuff like that. Yeah, I remember all that. I do not miss all those dumb MSDN CDs or having them all over the place. Okay, let's see. Update iris offsets. Let's see. Time, delta time, pass in. Target iris offset X, target down, ref, iris bound, ref. Well, if you dig down about 30 feet in your local landfill, you can find your MSDN CDs. It's not going to be recent. I think everybody threw them out about 15 years ago. But yeah, I remember those. I must have typoed it up above. Okay. So this is int target. Well, I appreciate it. You wasting your limited internet on me. No, it's good to hear from you. Let's see. What is the deal? Why is it complaining? I think about half the people that come on my stream are Canadians. Maybe I got something about me at Canadians, or say that guy is okay. Let's see. Cicada, he's in Victoria. Set that to 0 to start. All right, there's that thing with the angle. So, how did I get the angle up above? Okay, so this is probably what I do again. think so. Before I forget, this becomes target iris offset X, target iris offset Y. Hey Drifter, good to hear from you. Good luck with your work and your shaky internet. I'll see you around. All right, math. You do need the angle between the two vectors. So we'll say we're currently at that, and we're at that. Could figure out the angle one time when the target iris is set, but this is probably a good starting point. Don't need to prematurely optimize. Then go to the target. Say dx is going to be the cosine of that angle, dy the sine. That gives us basically a normal in the direction of travel. And the units would be pixels. Well, this is a normal, so it doesn't really, this doesn't have units to it. Okay. So then the distance traveled. Travel distance equals the amount of time that's elapsed since the last frame update times iris move pixels per second. Okay. Then we say that iris offset x plus equals dx times travel distance, and iris offset y plus equals dy times travel distance. So that will scale the normal by the travel distance. Let's see, travel distance pixel travel. That's fine. Okay, what is the thing you're complaining about? Okay, I think this is probably fine. But if the angle is going to be like really shallow, it'll be tricky to make sure this doesn't get gummed up if it's an int. So I'm probably better off converting this to a float. So let's just do this float. Oops. Okay, so, oh, these probably already were floats. They were, good. Okay, let's just say optimize can be calculated. Okay, that might be enough to get the eyes to move around as they should. Smoothly. I think I will try it. What are you complaining about? Let's build it again. Okay. So then, debugger. Oh, I need something that'll just say we're close enough, stop trying to get this closer. Okay, so we'll say if, geez, not targar, so many typos. Okay, if let's do this float util is same I also need to check for an overshoot, so I might as well calculate my distance. Float distance. And I think I will want some kind of just variable where I can just shut off the irises from moving them after they've reached their destination. So we'll say, okay, if travel distance greater than the distance we'll return a Boolean since this is a static method. Okay. Okay, so the other thing I need here is a variable say whether or not the irises are moving. Here we'll say if the irises are moving, we'll just update. I kind of feel like this whole attention target stuff's going to go away, but I will wait on doing that. This has got like a 17% chance of working the first time. Okay. Let's see, your target. I do have a target to start. Starting at 0. Cool. So negative 0.06, 0.99, okay. Distance, something definitely sub 1. Really? Something's off there. From is 0, 0. Wait, let me double check. Yeah, 0, 0. 2 is some weird. Oh. No, they aren't that neat. Yeah, they're like this. Okay, cool. Yeah, I suppose the distance might be close to 1. It might be pretty close to it. Let's see. But I'm a little bit surprised it's exactly 1. I shouldn't be, though, because the code up above is probably setting that target based on it being 1. Okay, cool. Okay, so the angle, what do I expect it to be? Let's look at these again. So 0, 0, and then from 2 to negative 0.1. I think. I don't know. I have no idea what the angle should be. So it's been converted to, okay. So I think this is saying if cosine 0, does that mean dx is going to be 1 or negative 1? One of the two. dy should be 0. Okay, dx equals 1, so it's pointing straight to the right. dy 0. Travel distance, what's our delta time? Okay. So maybe some pixels, a little bit of movement. Okay. Okay, so there's some code that's not working right. It's probably that angle code. The dx dy angle code. Because they're just all going straight off to the right. So this is probably just my typical screwing around with trig functions where I get something a little bit wrong about what the functions are going to return. Let me aim to just make a general purpose function that returns expected angle, and I'll make sure that works, and I will keep it. Keep it inside of here. Let's make something to just test it a little bit. It's a little bit easier for me to see it without it being in radians, but I think. Cosine graph. So 0, the cosine's 1. At pi 180 degrees. Further, it's going to be -1. Okay. Number I'm expecting. I could be writing unit tests for this, but I don't think I'll need it. Pi, I said, will be 3.14. Something. Okay. It'll be 4.6 something. All right. Z, what's going on? Oh, I'm just trying to deal with some math, some high school trigonometry. I always have a little bit of trouble with it. Well, I'm just making sure that this function that gets the angle between 2 points is actually returning the thing that I expect, and probably I've got the coordinate system flipped around or something like that. Pretty basic stuff. Okay, so this I'm thinking should give me 0. It did. This should be pi. Let's see. No, it's not, huh? Okay, it's just always returning 0. Well, that's not good at all. Okay, let's see what is going on there. Try this again. I mean, from to, so I would think the angle from to 2 would be like 180 degrees. Well, what the hell? Why? This function, like, what is it doing? I'll have to read the docs on it because it's not doing anything I'd expect it to. Is it a function that just always returns 0 no matter what you pass to it? Thanks for nothing, I guess. I know it must work under some cases because it's done other things for me. So unity, vector 2, angle. Oh, well, that's a good thing to know. It also means this probably won't work for me. I might have to write my own version. Oh, I had some code that would I had some code that adjusted for this smaller of two angles thing, but still, it's returning 0. Why is it always returning 0? Always returns 0. Yeah, maybe I should just use this. Oh, that function works differently. Okay. It's assuming that each vector is an actual vector from the origin at 0. And so each one has an implied angle based on that. So I'm calling the wrong function. I do like this. Let's see how this does for me. I don't need the vectors actually, so just do float dy equals 2y minus from y dx equals 2x minus from x. Dx. And then what's this? That looks like a conversion to an angle. I think a-tan 2 should just return radians, which is what I wanted. Like that. Let's try that. First one, 0. Okay, now we got pi. Then we should have half pi. Negative 1.5. I don't know about that. And that was 1.5. Yeah, I just don't swim in this stuff, so it takes me a little bit longer to fix all my problems. Okay, don't need this. That goes to radians. And I'm just thinking in my head, does it cause me an issue to have this go this way? I think this difference here is because the coordinate system used by the functions in MathF assumes that as you go with decreasing values of y, you're going lower. So it's just a flipping y thing there for that, I think. Anyways, if I flip these around, that would just mean that I would have 1 point. No, that's not, it doesn't work, because that measures the difference in angles between two vectors, and I want the angle between 2 points. But yeah, that was the first thing I did, vector 2 angle. And I essentially made the same mistake as this guy that posted this. He said, if I have one vector that's at 0, 1, and another one that's at, well, these two vectors, I want the angle from this point to this point. And then this guy said, what you basically asked for was, what's the difference in angles between these 2 points that are both on y0? And that angle function looks at each of the vectors you pass in as a vector from the origin. And it says, okay, they're both pointing in this direction, therefore the angle between them is 0. This function is basically right. I just have to kind of sort out my expectations on what angle should be returned when y is pointing up versus down. I could do float a equals boom. And I could say if I think if a is less than 0, it's not actually hurting me to pass it into cosine and sine. So I don't think I'll worry about adjusting it. But let me just double check the output of this. Oh, go ahead, play it. What? Get the angle between 2 points as opposed to 2 vectors. Angle and radians between 2 points. I'm pretty close. 0, pi. Oh, let's do a negative with that one. This is stuff where it goes negative that's messing me up. I'm in the middle of thinking about this. Let me come back to that. Okay, So the first one is just 0. The second one, it did negative pi. Which is fine. Honestly, that's fine. Because when I pass it later on to cosine and sine, negative pi is going to be the same thing as pi. Maybe. Alright, so this is 1.5 something, as I expected. And this one's negative 1.5. But I think that's essentially the same thing as this in radians. No, not exactly. Keep in mind, I don't want to rework all my code into game objects and stuff like you were recommending earlier. But all right. So I have code that sets the target destination of the irises. Well, you know, I want to move the irises to certain XY coordinates. Okay. Update iris offsets. Here's what the code does, or attempts to do. It says we've got two coordinates. We've got where we're at now with our irises and where we want our irises to travel to. Okay, then we get the distance used beneath here. The angle of travel to go from the from point to the to point. This is what I'm stuck on a little bit, although I think I'm probably getting close. This would be from to. So I started off with that vector 2 angle thing, and then it had the problem I described. So let's see. And actually, I don't need this. I'll just go iris offset x, iris offset y. Okay. Then this to and from and to is the point where the irises currently are. Sorry, opposite. From is the point where the irises currently are. To is the point where I want the irises to go to. 2 minus from will give a vector that expresses the offset of x and y. Okay. I want the irises to travel towards that point, but with a certain distance applied to it. So if I have the right angle, then this down here will give me a normalized dx dy for the angle. And then it's a question of multiplying dx and dy by the number of pixels I want to travel in this frame. So this code is pretty, I don't know, not interesting. I mean, it's straightforward to me. All of this is straightforward, actually. It's just I'm a little bit tripped up on just getting the angle between 2 points. That's all. And it might even work with the changes I made. I'll see in a second. 2, it's pretty close to straight right. The angle that comes back. Negative 1.6. All right, look at that again. So we're starting at 0, 0, looking straight ahead with the irises we want it to go to. A little bit left, and then down. I think these are pixel coordinates or screen coordinates without any texture flipping. So I think 1 is going to be down. Okay, and it's saying the angle of travel is negative 1.6, and I think that effectively means the 270 degree position going down. So that might be right. Let's see, dx should be something close to 0 but not quite. dy should be close to 1 but not quite. Okay, it's flipped. It's going the other way. Okay. So it looks like I still got some flipping there. But, okay, so you're looking straight down. You're looking correctly at me. Okay. I think my attention manager stuff is maybe overcomplicating what I'm trying to debug right now. What happened to my audio? Oh, there we go. Okay. That sounds pretty reasonable. Let me make sure. Yeah, that actually does make sense. Okay, let me think about what you said there. You said with the angle, you're saying the first vector is going to be pointed at 0. The second one, b minus a. So it's using like, yeah. Yeah, it might be useful. Let me turn off like the stuff I've got in this that is making extra factors for me to worry about. I think it's pretty easy. I'll just... Yeah, I can do that too. Okay, so the only thing she should have to look at is Billy. There is a gradual movement. Yeah, this is a she. This guy over here is also, just for the moment, having M's placeholder art. Not placeholder art, but he's just doubling up on the art. No. Okay. Something with the attention management stuff. It's kind of screwy, I think. Although, just to make sure it's not that, just to make sure it's actually it seems less precise than what I was aiming for. Target. Just make sure that the targeting part is right. Turn. False. Okay. So targeting is fine. It's my code that's updating the iris position is still got bugs in it. Okay. It's good to rule that out at least. Okay. I think this is probably the culprit. Thank you. Yeah. I did a little work on those. Let's try the thing you mentioned. To me, it makes sense to subtract from 2. Okay, so they both shot up in this direction, which means that the function is probably returning 0 all the time. So let's debug that. Yeah, I feel like this code's probably right. There's just like some flipping nonsense in it. Okay. Oh, it definitely returns degrees. That would be it. Or at least that would be one problem. Okay, so let's put this back to... Yeah. Good call. What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright, so it's going to be 2 is that. From is that. Wait, how does... Oh, that must be it kind of maximized up at the top. What, just 4 parameters passed in? What's scary? Well, you're talking about this? Yeah, I'm not sure if I follow. The angle is just going to be 0, I think, all the time. Yeah, different things look weird to different brains. I would call this stylistic differences between us on that one. Boom. Okay. So, I don't know. I think I was close on this first way. I'm probably going to go back to that for now. I gotta think about how to do the debug right now. That's the problem. Okay, so we could say that we can do it from this, but this is not the actual screen coordinate. So I'd have to go look up where is the screen coordinate and all that. Let's see. Player position. No, it's here. It's just I'm having to jump around to find it, and then I'll end up debugging the draw rate code. So I'm a little reluctant to put that in, just because I don't. It's not that trivial. It's like 5 minutes, and I put it in. No, it's no worries. It's just just I'm on a certain track and I'm. All right. So let me go back to just a few things. Let's see. Float. I know what you're saying. It goes along with what we were talking about before, which was like the alternative way of doing all this stuff is just with game objects in the scene, and then a lot of the built-in Unity methods are more quickly used to handle things like that. I understand that point of view. Well, I mean, I can run the stuff in the debugger and see what's going on too. That's, I think, what I'm going to do next. I think this was maybe a bad move. Okay, so first my angle is 0. That means cosine should be should return 1. dy should return 0. Okay, then it's going to return instead negative pi. So I think this will be cosine 0. And dy, I think, will be either 1 or negative 1. Dx is... Okay, I got it mixed around, I guess. Oh, no, this is 2x is negative 1 here. What was A? Oh yeah, this is the 180 degree mark. I could have made it easier on myself and put these like clockwise, but I didn't. Okay, so A is pi, and that is the 180 degree mark. And dx will be negative 1. dy equals 0. Close enough to 0. Okay. I mean, my hope is actually that these two values, dx and dy, are just going to be the same as the 2x and 2y. So far, that's true. Okay, so here it's, okay, that's negative half pi. And 2x, I'm hoping is 0. Yep. -1. Okay. I mean, this is like a geometry proof. I mean, these things have to be true. Just kind of checking my sanity a little bit. Okay, so 0 and then 1. Okay. Oh, I still got the thing that goes past the iris update code, so let's fix that. Oh, no, I took it out. So is it working as expected now? It might be. Oh, okay, hold on, let me check that again. That might actually be working now. Yeah, okay, I think I got it. That was too much work, but I got it. Let me slow down the speed that the irises move so I can watch it move a little bit better. This I can take out. Let's see, the other one I want to do is let's get the yeah, it's more irritating to me than joyful. It's like I've written so much code like that and just I get tripped up on something that seems kind of basic. I'm not as smart as I think I am, basically. This should be floats. don't know why I used a vector 3 here. Can I do vector 2? Okay, that's probably smarter. Okay. I'm surprised it let me do this with a vector 3. Okay, then the speed that the irises move, let's slow it down. Because it's too fast and I don't know if it's really working or not. Okay. I think my lower range of movement on the eye is not right. But the algorithm seems okay. Let's look. X, how's X look? That's pretty good. Yeah, it's just the rectangle that the box can move inside of seems off. But the smooth movement's good. The iris movement's good. I didn't expect it to take me like 2 hours or whatever it was, but it hasn't been 2 hours. Maybe an hour and 30 minutes. All right. So yeah, I think let's go back to attention manager stuff. This seems like I want this to be higher. Let's do 3 for now. I could definitely see this iris movement thing being tied to emotions. So I could say if you are in certain agitated states, your irises move around faster. But leave that for now. Okay. So attention setting stuff, which means I gotta get rid of some code and replace it. But at least I can say this part I can take out of it, so that simplifies it. Speech. All right, I'm having a little bit of trouble concentrating, and I think I might wrap it up for the day, to be honest. But I don't don't know. I need to take a break at least. I'll see if I feel like coming back afterwards. Oh. There's a thing where my actual eyes are bothering me. My actual eyes. Because today I went and picked up some new glasses and they're... Oh, it's like I keep thinking about my eyes because I got these new glasses and I don't like them much at all, to be honest. They're super clear, which is great, but my eyes aren't used to them. It's bugging the hell out of me. It's just weird that I'm also working on eyes while I keep thinking about my own eyes. And my eyes are irritated while I work on bugs in the eyes that I programmed. Yeah. So I'm going to take a little break. I may come back. I may not. I don't know. But if I don't see you later, I'll catch you later. Cicada. Thanks for the help. Alright. Stopping the stream. Stopping the stream. Bye.